How's it going, everyone? Javita here with a new feature introduction. I'm going to be focusing on each new feature kind of independent in its own video. I'm going to be going over atlases here first. But yeah, there is a crazy amount of new stuff in this release. James was gracious enough and generous to provide me with a lot of the new items. As you can see here, kind of made a wall of new stuff, and he even did a little bit of redecorating. I think he found my floor to be a little bit maybe boring, but crazy update that adds all sorts of things, including atlases, bombs, brews, food, power coils. Just insane. Pretty awesome update, and so let's get started. This is on testing 187, and we have atlases now. These are intended to be essentially an in-game map as well as a resource locator. So in my right hand here I have an atlas. These are crafted. They are considered as basic gear, so you can find them right here. All that's needed to craft these are glass and copper bars. At first, glass seems like an awfully not so basic thing. However, the recipe is much simplified than what it used to be. Now glass is simply crafted with equal parts of sand and silty soil in a furnace. The only tripping block here is that glass requires the common decorative recipes, which is found under equipment crafting right here. So you will have to wait a little bit just to be able to craft the glass, but at least you don't need a compactor anymore. So in order to use an atlas, you will need at least one zone discovered on a planet, otherwise they won't work. So you simply action the atlas and voila, it will sync to the planet and fill in with all the zones that you have discovered. Once you sync an atlas to a planet, there's no undoing it for the time being. So as you can see, as I look around, the world rotates with me. This is so that the direction I am facing is always at the top of the atlas. The position of my character is dead center on the atlas. So pretty awesome. As I move around, you can see that rather slowly the atlas will start to rotate along with me. One of the awesome things about these is that the progress is saved to the item itself. So if you look down here, you can see that I have 45 out of 50 regions discovered. I could take this item and sell it either on a plinth or trade it to somebody else, and they would be able to make full use of this knowledge. So if they have the 5 zones that I'm missing, they'll automatically fill in for them, and then they could even trade it back to me so I could have a complete atlas. Also, as you can see at the very top of this, and even off here to the side, there's kind of some blotchy areas. That is basically fog of war in areas that I have yet to discover. So if I come over to my main house, you can see this a little bit better. Got a splotchy area right there at the top of the atlas. Spin over here, and then there's another. So it looks like I can see about 3 zones from right here and 2 more somewhere else. So as awesome as this is an in-game map, it makes an even better resource locator. So coming over here, you can see a variety of different atlases. They look drastically different. However, these are all Solum. How you can achieve this is you simply take any resource you want to track and simply drop it on the atlas. If you want to undo this, you can use the empty button, which is X by default, and it pops the item right back out. So in this mode, the world grays out and displays a heat map for the resource. So all the splotchy areas are where gold is present. The brighter the area, the more resource is in that area. So coming over here, here are the 4 ores. So this would be copper, iron, silver, gold, and titanium. As you can see, copper is glowing red hot. Iron is a little bit cooler, a little bit less of it. It's orange, and it moves down to yellow for silver and gold. Get right up on these, you can see that all of these have a very similar distribution. They just get much sparser as the material gets rarer. And something that's kind of interesting is that no titanium is showing up on Solum at all. Last time I checked, Solum did have some titanium. It was quite rare, so I don't know if it's been completely removed either in this update or previous updates. However, it has really little consequence because if you're after titanium, it's best to go to another planet altogether anyway. Particularly a ring world would be a good choice. So not really that big of a deal. Coming over here, we have the coals. So we have soft coal here, medium coal, and then finally hard coal. So as you can see, they all have similar distributions. They just get a lot rarer as you go up. And again, just like titanium, it's best to go to a ring world or somewhere else to find hard coal. And over here we have the various ancient tech stuff. So here we have the fragments, which I believe are renamed to something else. Ancient tech remnants. So we have the ancient tech remnants or fragments here, tech components, and then tech devices. Starter worlds, of course, do not have any tech devices. So here's an example of a blank heat map. The world's perfectly grayed out, and there's none of this resource on the planet, so there are no hotspots. So piggybacking on this new heat map feature, the warp augment now shows a heat map for beacon locations. So when you're picking your very first warp location, or you're picking a location on another planet, you can very clearly see where the populated areas are. So as you can see on Solum, there are quite a few areas that are hot with beacons, but do not have a settlement marker. So pretty invaluable tool. The same heat map can be utilized on the atlases by dropping the warp augment onto the atlas. Quite nice. So if you're viewing a planet that you are not currently on, as you can see, it slowly rotates. This is Volto, and yeah, I know a lot less of Volto, so these big yellow splotches, that's the fog of war of zones I've yet to discover. And then over here, this is a heat map for rubies. I did some test mining on Volto for rubies, and I found this to be absolutely invaluable for not only getting in the right location, but staying in the right location. So jumping over to Volto, as you can see, there's some blue splotches at the top of the atlas. So that would be glacier, which would indicate really tall mountains. So as you can see, there is a strong correlation between the mountains and the rubies. So it's pretty fascinating to be able to actually visualize some of the information that the community already knows about spawn locations, as well as the potential to discover new patterns which previously were not very obvious. If you haven't already noticed, the atlas obeys in-game lighting, so as you can see here, Pixelgate off to the right side of the atlas is actually glowing because of all the gleam there. Not to mention, the whole entire atlas is being shaded as there's no light source to the right of me. Pretty darn awesome. Okay, well I think that covers atlases pretty well. I can't wait to get a hold of these in the live version of the game, not only for finding rare resources such as the tech devices and gems, but also to find particularly rich areas of coal deposits. One observation I'd like to throw out though is I have an atlas showing copper ore heat map, and it's showing basically these mountains over here to be a particularly hot spot. Now, there is a lot of copper and iron ore over there, I can say that from personal experience. However, it might be showing particularly hot simply because there is more mantle over there for ore to actually spawn in, meaning that there's more rock right there going all the way to bedrock than say where I'm standing right here, where there's actually a lot of the mantles being taken up by this lake. Not only that, the heat maps do not account for depth, so you still have to have some knowledge of what elevations resources favor. So just a few things to keep in mind when utilizing this invaluable tool. Anyway, this was Javita, thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you want to see more like them, and if there's anything you didn't like, please let me know down below. Until next time, peace.